Why does Jungkook feel different lately, even without saying a word? What is this quiet shift that keeps pulling everyone in? And why can't fans look away anymore? Stay until the end and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as we explore a presence that speaks louder than words. What if the most powerful thing about someone isn't what they say, but what they don't? What if the moment that changed everything didn't arrive with noise but with silence? And what if the reason so many people feel drawn in right now is because something has shifted in a way no one can fully explain, yet everyone can sense? Before you scroll past, pause for a second. Have you felt it too? That quiet difference, that subtle pull whenever you watch Jungkook now. Not something obvious, not something dramatic, but something that lingers, something that makes you stay a little longer, watch a little closer, and wonder a little more. At first, nothing seemed different. Everything appeared the same familiar presence, the same recognizable energy, the same connection that had always existed between him and those who watched. It felt steady, unchanged, almost as if nothing had shifted at all. But then slowly something began to emerge. Not in a way that demanded attention, not in a way that could be clearly pointed out, but in a way that could be felt. A quieter intensity in his presence, a deeper stillness in moments that once felt lighter. Because when enough people feel the same thing, even without saying it out loud, it becomes something real, something shared, something that exists beyond individual perception. And that is exactly what started to happen. The presence began to feel different. Not drastically, not dramatically, but undeniably. There is something about a change that isn't explained that makes it more compelling, because it invites attention rather than demanding it. It creates curiosity rather than providing answers. It pulls people in, not through clarity but through mystery. And that is what makes this moment so powerful, because it is not defined, it is experienced. The more people watch, the more they begin to sense that this quiet shift is not just a passing feeling. It is something consistent, something that appears again and again in subtle ways. A slight pause that feels more intentional. A moment of stillness that carries unexpected depth. An expression that seems to hold something just beneath the surface. Something that cannot be fully seen but can be clearly felt. And once these details are noticed, they begin to reshape everything. Because perception changes. What once felt simple now feels layered. What once felt familiar now feels complex. What once passed unnoticed now becomes impossible to ignore. This is where the emotional connection deepens. Because recognizing something unspoken creates a different kind of bond. It feels more personal, more intuitive, more real. It is not based on what is presented clearly, but on what is understood quietly. And that kind of understanding stays. It lingers. It grows stronger with time. There is also a growing realization that this quiet change may not be something new, but something that has been developing gradually. Something that has reached a point where it can no longer remain unnoticed. And that realization adds another layer of depth, because it suggests that what people are sensing now is not the beginning, but the result. The outcome of something internal that has been evolving over time, now becoming visible in subtle but undeniable ways. And when internal change begins to show externally, even quietly, it transforms everything. Changes how presence is felt, how moments are interpreted, how connection is experienced. And once that shift happens, there is no returning to the way things were seen before. This is why the presence feels so different now. Not because it has become louder or more obvious, but because it has become deeper, more grounded, more layered. And that depth is what draws people in. Because depth invites attention. It invites curiosity. It invites a kind of engagement that goes beyond surface-level observation. And that is exactly what is happening. People are not just watching anymore. They are noticing. They are feeling. They are connecting in a way that feels more personal, more intuitive, more real. There is also something about the silence itself that makes this transformation even more impactful. Because without words to define it, people are left to interpret it in their own way, to observe without instruction, to feel without explanation, to understand without being told what to think. And that creates a unique kind of experience, one that is open, one that is personal, one that evolves with each person who engages with it. As time continues, this quiet presence does not fade. It becomes stronger, not in intensity but in recognition. More people begin to notice it. More people begin to feel it. More people begin to understand, even if they cannot fully explain what they are understanding, that it is not fixed, that it will keep changing, keep growing, keep revealing new layers over time. And that idea adds a sense of anticipation, because it suggests that what people are seeing now is only part of a larger journey. A journey that is ongoing. A journey that cannot be fully captured in a single moment. A journey that continues to unfold, quietly, steadily, in ways that may not always be visible, but are always present. And perhaps that is what makes it so compelling. Not the need to understand it completely, but the experience of witnessing it as it happens. So if you find yourself drawn in, if you notice that you keep watching, keep thinking, keep feeling that quiet difference that cannot be ignored, then you are part of this story. A story that does not rely on words. A story that does not need clear explanations. A story that exists in presence, in perception, in the silent understanding that something has changed in a way that cannot be undone. Because sometimes the most powerful presence is not the one that speaks the loudest, but the one that says everything without saying anything at all. And as that silent pull continues to hold attention, something even more fascinating begins to unfold. The realization that this unspoken presence is not only being noticed, but is actively shaping the way people interpret every new moment. It is no longer just about what is seen in isolation, but about how each appearance of Jungkook now carries a weight that feels different from before. There is a shift in how time itself seems to move within these moments. Seconds feel longer. Pauses feel deeper. Even the smallest gestures seem to linger in a way that invites reflection rather than passing by unnoticed. It is not because anything dramatic is happening. It is because something subtle is being felt. And that feeling changes everything. Because when attention slows down like this, perception sharpens. People begin to notice not just what is happening, but how it is happening. The rhythm, the pacing, the quiet transitions between expressions. Things that once blended into the background now stand out in ways that feel almost impossible to ignore. There is also an increasing awareness that this presence does not demand attention in the usual way. It does not rely on intensity. It does not rely on obvious shifts. Instead, it draws people in through something much quieter, something much more controlled, something that feels intentional even when it appears effortless.